Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Teoh and today I'm going to present about the topic CPTPP, RCEP and beyond, and how these two agreements will affect Australia export and what is the industry that will be affected. And at the end, I will also present some of the recommendation. First, let me introduce some of the background information about the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement. The full name for CPTPP is Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. CPTPP is one of the main important trade agreements that emerged from a core of the original TPP agreement after the United States withdrew from it in 2017. This CPTPP agreement was signed on 8 March in 2018 in Santiago, Chile, and it's come into force on 30 December 2018. It includes 11 members countries. The challenge for Australia to sign this agreement is to increase the competition in key industry, and which will impact the economy of Australia. The RCEP agreement negotiations were officially launched at the Asian Summit and held in Cambodia on December 20 in 2012. This was a proposed FTA between 10 Asian members countries and also the 6 major trading partners, which are China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and also India. The desire is to create an overall economic partnership that is comprehensive and mutually beneficial, bringing together increased trade and investment among the participating countries. Impact because of this agreement on Australia, it would increase the trade network of Australia, thus making competition somehow intensive, especially in agriculture sector. While there are many plus points as far as Australia signing the agreement on CPTPP and the RCEP agreement that could strengthen its trade network, but it also brings some challenge to Australia, given that the fact it would impact increasingly competitiveness in the key industry with country members that will ultimately affect the economic system in Australia. Next part, I will present about the current state of affairs of that issue. As we know, Australia's main export are agriculture products, and it has established a strong trade economy with abundant natural resources. At the same time, Australia is very dependent on natural resources export, such as the agriculture product and mining. Therefore, Australia used free trade agreement to promote economic growth and is very actively involved in regional economic integration to reduce Australia's geographical isolation, especially through the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership (RCEP) and the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement (CPTPP). Since the member countries that signed the two agreements are almost also depends on the natural resources export, such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and other countries. This has increased Australia's competition with other member countries, especially with Asian countries with the lower labour and production costs. This has also directly led to a decline in Australia's income in the agriculture sector. This decline has directly affected Australian farmers, who are facing pricing pressure in a more competitive market. In addition to agriculture product, mining and resources industry, manufacturing and service industry are also affected by this both agreement. Next part, I will be present about the impacted industry. Intense competition has eroded Australian market share and put a lot of pressure on Australian agriculture industry. The Free Trade Agreement CPTPP and RCEP have consequently placed tremendous competitive pressure on the wheat, dairy product, and beef export of Australia. In history, Australia has benefited from preferential tariff in major markets such as Vietnam, especially for the wheat. After the participation of Vietnam in the CPTPP agreement, other member countries like Canada have also received the same level of tariff fee access to the Vietnamese market, thereby threatening this comparative advantage that Australia had in the past year. Besides that, after the execution of the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, the European countries also export wheat to Vietnam on preferential terms, reducing further the share of Australian wheat in the market. In addition to the wheat, the whole agriculture sector of Australia have been facing the pressure from the lower production costs in the competing country, with countries like Vietnam and Malaysia competing with similar products but at the lower cost. The environment is very competitive and will mean that Australian producers have to lift productivity and reduce costs just to remain the profit. As confirmed by Timshina and Kulas in 2020, the degree of competition for other countries also influence industry competitiveness. In a report presented to the Australian Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, it has been said that the industry needs to adopt advanced technology and sustainability use of natural resources if it is to remain competitive in this increasingly crowded market. And next part, I will present about how it impacts the economy of the Australia. Under the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement, member countries have been actively strengthening their agriculture sector, and countries such as Vietnam, New Zealand and Malaysia are becoming the strong competitors to Australia. For example, Vietnam focus on joining the CPTPP was to expand its natural resources and the agriculture export, especially targeting markets where Australia previously had a leading position, such as wheat export. Vietnam tariff cuts have since enabled Canada to increase wheat export to Vietnam, making it more difficult for Australia to maintain its foothold. Importers in the Asia-Pacific region are increasingly turning to supply with competitive quality standard and high cost effectiveness, positioning these countries as preferred trading partner in many cases. New Zealand has also strengthened its agriculture export, especially the dairy export, by using the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement to diversify and consolidate its market coverage in Asia. Directly competing with Australia's dairy export, this trade dynamic reveals a new competitive landscape, with countries within the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement benefiting from open market but also facing intense competition which affected Australia country's economy. Next part, we will move into the data part. According to this data in August 2024, Australia's seasonally adjusted balance on goods saw a modest increase of 8 million, driven by a slightly excess of export over import. Despite this increase, the agriculture export sector faced significant decline, with overall rural goods dropping by 3.9%. The key agriculture categories such as other rural and meat preparation decreased by 7.5% and also 3.7%, respectively, while cereal grain also experienced a slightly dip. This trend highlights growing challenge of Australia agriculture export, partly due to increased competition in the Asian Pacific region from countries like New Zealand and Vietnam, especially within the CPTPP and RCEP free trade agreement. This situation poses potential risks for Australia's trade surplus and could impact its economic growth if the agriculture export continues to face the pressure. Next, we will move to next graph. According to this graph, August 2024, shown by Australia Bureau of Statistics ABS report, it highlights a decline in agriculture export, with the rural goods down by 3.9% or 219 million. The sharpest decrease was seen in other rural products, which fell by 7.5%, which is 196 million, indicating that non-core agriculture export faced the most significant pressure. Meat export also dropped by 3.7%, and the cereal grain decreased by 1.1%, suggesting that Australia's competitive edge in this category might be eroding due to intensified competition within the CPTPP and the RCEP market. For instance, Australian wheat export to Vietnam now have faced strong competition from Canada, which benefit from the same tariff-free status under the CPTPP free trade agreement. Next, this graph illustrates Australia's good balance as of August 2024. It's showing a peak in earliest year and a noticeable decline since then. As of August 2024, seasonally adjusted balance was 5,644 million. This downward trend in the good balance, particularly in agriculture export, underscores the pressure Australia faced in maintaining its trade surplus, aimed intensifying competition from the CPTPP and the RCEP country, such as New Zealand and Vietnam. Increased export options from this country, which often come with competitive price and similar tariff exemption, have posed a challenge for Australia agriculture export, especially in key production like the wheat and meat. The reduction in this good balance is significant as it may signal a reduced trade surplus, potentially impacting Australia's broader economic growth and employment in the agriculture sector. With agriculture export seeing decline in categories like meat, which down by 3.7%, and other rural goods down by 7.5%. Australia's competitiveness in this international market appear weakened. As global integration within trade agreement continue, this trade may persist unless Australia explore strategic to boost its productivity and adapt to the changing trade environment. This development could influence Australia's economic sustainability and highlight the needs for innovation and investment in sustainability agriculture practice to enhance the competitiveness. Next part, we will move to the recommendation part. The following recommendation might help Australia's agriculture industry become more competitive globally. The government can focus on several strategic areas to improve the global competitiveness of Australian agriculture. First, investment in research, development and extension is considered a very important driver of innovation and productivity growth. Through such support for R&D and engineering, Australia will be able to accelerate the rate at which agriculture enterprises adopt advanced technology and practice. This will help farmers increase production and efficiency, which is also becoming increasingly important in the context of fierce global competition. For example, precision farming equipment that help to achieve optimal use of resources will reduce production costs and improve the quality of agriculture. In the long run, it will also lead to sustainable competitiveness, thereby maintaining soil health, water resources, and so on. It is important to prepare for the risks associated with climate change. For example, crop rotation, diversification, and better water management will reduce shock and help farmers sustainabilize product or reduce vulnerability to extreme climate conditions. In addition to technology investment, farmer training and education programs will provide them with the necessary capabilities to enable them to use new tools more effectively. Further strengthening the industry, this innovation can promote the establishment of resilient agriculture system, making Australia agriculture more competitive in international market while promote environment sustainability. In conclusion, Australia's sign of the CPTPP and the RCEP Free Trade Agreement can indeed strengthen its trade network, but it also brings considerable challenge. Therefore, Australia must have a way to increase its competitiveness in order to truly enjoy the benefit bring from the CPTPP and RCEP Free Trade Agreement. That's all from my presentation. Thank you. This is my reference.